my YouTube channel, and this is Biko T. I'm glad to have you around. Okay, so today what we're going to do today is a professional roll-up banner. Okay, please follow me as we go dive deeper into this design. So now we are going to select the size for the roll-up banner, which is going to be in inches. We are going to use inches to do that, okay? And it's going to be what? 3 by 7 inches. Though, you know, when you want to print, you're going to use feet. So it's going to be 3 by 7 feet. But nevertheless, since you're using an inches, you can use, but nevertheless, you can also use inches and you select 3 by 7 inches, okay? 3 by 7 inches. So once I change this to 7, other things remains the same. Then I will rename my project to roll up banner. So once I'm done renaming it, then I'll click on create. So this is my workspace, okay? This is my workspace, and of course, you know, it's cool, right? Okay, so let's go deeper into our design. I'm going to bring all the elements needed. That's the picture and probably the background I'll need, and you know, like I always do, in order to make our tutorial very fast, easy, and succinct, that is to make it as simple as possible and not to bore us with a lot of things, just to make it minimal in order for you to be interested and to find it interesting. Okay, so I have all the elements I'm going to use already. I've imported them into the design, into the workspace, into my Photoshop workspace. So what I'm just going to do is just drag them and paste them. So just follow me and you get everything in total. Okay, so I'm going to drag this. It's a background that I want to use for the design, so I'm going to drag it like this, and I'm going to drag as well into the workspace. You see, when you see this plus icon, it's showing that okay, you are dragging something from another, maybe a background or an image, and you are dragging it to another canvas or another workspace. So once you release your mouse, you will see that the background will show up there. Okay, you can have our background here now. All right, so for that, I'm going to close this off. I don't need it anymore, and I'm going to uncheck this. So the image I need, or the image I want to use as well, I'm going to drag it. So I have my image like this. I'm going to drag and drop. Okay, I'll close this as well. Good. I have all my elements and now let's dive into our design. Okay, I'm going to check this off. Now I'm going to do my little design, you know, just to stylize everything and make it look good. Okay, so the design is going to be as simple as possible, right? As simple as possible, right? So I want to have a circle here. I can do it in different ways, but let me use my pen tool. I'm gonna use my pen tool. I'm gonna change it to shape, right? Once I change it to shape, this I'll select that, right? Once I select this, because I don't want it to have a stroke actually, so that's why I'm selecting it. So I'm gonna select my pen tool, right? Then I'll choose this area and do like so, right? Like so. Okay, so now I have this and I'm good, right? So now what are we gonna do next? So what I want to do next now is to fix up my image into this blue background. You know, I have my image and here is my image. I'm going to reduce this image, you know, to make it fit into the workspace, right? So I have it like this, And don't forget, the image will be directly on top of that particular shape I drew. You can see it here, which is the blue shape. You see shape 1 and your image, that's layer 2. The image layer 2 will be directly on top of that blue background, right? Why do we do that? This is just to make sure that what we are doing is correct, because our plan is to make sure that this image is fit into the blue shape and to make our design look good. So for that reason, we're going to reduce this image to some reasonable extent. You see, you just drag by the corner, you drag, and it drags down, up and down, up and down. Okay, so once you're satisfied with the size, then you can now release your mouse and move the image up to some little extent. Okay, like so. Then I hit my OK. So now I want to clip mask this image inside of this blue background. How do I do that? Okay, I can just right click and come to create clipping mask, right? So now I'm done with that. Okay, good. Let me zoom out and see what I'm doing, right? Good. Okay, so now I have this as what I'm looking for, right? So now I clip masked this image inside of this shape, and you can see it's looking good gradually. Okay, so now what are we gonna do? This white background, I'm gonna check out the visibility. You'll see that it has covered the whole image, but that's not what we're looking for. So the next thing we're gonna do now is to make sure that this background, that's this layer 1, comes directly above the background layer, and that's what we're gonna do now. So I have it directly on top of my background layer, and don't forget, this background layer you're seeing is by default. It will come by default once you just open your Photoshop and you create your workspace and the lights. It just appears automatically. That's by default, it appears. So once we have that, then we are good to go. So now I want to turn this shape like this, holding my shift so that I can have a perfect angle, right? So once I have something like this, then I will still try and reduce to some little reasonable amount, or reasonable extent rather. Okay, good. So once I have this, I think I'm good. I hit my enter key. So once I have this, then okay. So now my background color, I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it to this blue. So how do I do that? I'm going to hit my Alt and my delete. Alt and delete on the keyboard, and it changes the background color to blue. But the reason why we're not seeing this here is because we have a background on top of it, and of course we're going to make it look good. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to make sure that this particular white background, we're going to blend it up with the blue background and make it look good. Let's see how it's going to look. Okay, so I select this. Of course you can rename your layers so that you can see exactly what you're doing, in order to make your work flow very easy and cool, and for you not to confuse yourself or mix things together. So let me just do that right now. Just double click, okay, and I'm going to rename it to white background. Let me just say W background, WBG, okay, and I hit my OK. I have it renamed. I can do the same thing to this. I'll just say IMG. Good. So now I'm going to come to this blend mode or blend option. I'm just gonna flip through every options we have and see the one that looks good with my design. And let me reduce this fill to some little extent. I think something like so would be good, right? This is good. So now I still have some other little thing I want to do, just to stylize my design, and spice my design up, right? Good. So I'm gonna duplicate this, Ctrl J, and I'm gonna double click here so that I can just change the color to something else. I don't know, maybe just pick up this color. So once I pick up the color, and I'm gonna do some little magic, not really magic per se. So now I'll do something like this. Okay, I hit my enter, or just come to this check mark and you check it up, and then I think I'm good to go. Alright, so what is the next thing we're gonna do? I just want to give this a little drop shadow, so I'm gonna double click on it, and once I double click, this layer style will pop up. I'm just gonna drag like so, and I'm gonna apply some little effect like drop shadow, and let me see how it's gonna look. Okay, so I have my drop shadow. Then let me increase the opacity to some little extent, and I'm gonna do this. Okay, like so, and I hit my OK. I think I'm good with this. Of course, I still want to do some little touch, so I'm still gonna double click and make it up, and I'm gonna add inner shadow. Let's see how it's gonna look. Inner shadow. Then I'm gonna increase this one. Okay, no. I think I love this. Right. Okay. Good. Let me select this and do like, let's say 16% will be nice. Good. So I have something like this. Now I'm gonna lock this. Why do I want to lock this? I want to lock this because by the time I start moving some of these things, so that they won't shake off, or they won't get rid of where they are supposed to be. So I'm gonna lock it here, and this as well. I'm gonna lock it. Good. So, and this background too, I'm gonna lock it. Okay. And I'm gonna lock this image as well. All right. So now let me just make this work as simple as possible and neat. So I'm gonna select all. How do I do that? I will come to this WBG. Once I click on it, I will go to the first layer, then I hold my shift and I select and I click, so it selects everything. Then I'm gonna group with Ctrl G, so it is grouped. Then let me just say BG. Let me just say main. You can rename yours as anything. I'm just gonna say main. Okay. So now, having done that, what's the next thing we're gonna do? We're gonna add some little write-up, just to make our work look good. It's gonna be as simple as possible. This is just a simple and professional roll-up banner. Okay. The next thing we're gonna do is this. Let's just write down some things. So you just come to your text tool, then you come here and just select any particular place and just type. Let me just say good. The reason why you don't see what you're typing is because you have your foreground color. Is it foreground or background? Okay, you have your foreground color as blue, and you have this background here as blue, so it won't show up. What you're gonna do is just select all with your Ctrl A, Ctrl T to show up your transform tool. Then just drag like so. Good. So once you just drag like this, just come to this color, and let's just use white for now. Do not be offended. I don't want to bore us with typing. So for that reason, I'm gonna fast forward this area. Just to type. It's as simple as that. I'm just gonna fast forward it. Then you can move to the next thing. now, why do I select this? I selected this to, to just turn everything up to cap lock. That's all. Okay, this is the tracking, so I'm going to choose 0. I'm going to centralize everything now. Control A to select everything, then you come on top of that layer, and once you select that layer, you come here and you centralize. Then I'm going to hit up my imagination as well. I'm going to hit up my imagination. So once I hit up my imagination, then I will come here and I will select so decentralized. Then I'll come to reality. I will select as well to centralize. Okay, this is centralized, right? Good. I'm going to deselect now. Control D. I'm going to shift this up a bit. So I'm still going to let me increase this to some extra. Let me say 40. Let's see how 40 is going to look. Good. I'll centralize it. Fine. Good. So once I centralize it, I'll move this up a bit. I'll move this up a bit. Then I'll move this up a bit as well. And good. I like it. Bringing your imagination to reality. Good. So let me just. Okay. This is 17. Then I will make sure that this also is 17, so that I will have the same size. 17. Good. Then I'll hit OK. Let me check again. I think this is okay. You can see the vertical scale was on 111. So I will make this the same thing, and this is medium. I'll make sure it is the same thing. So I'm gonna hit up and I'm gonna select this and change to 111. Okay, and medium, everything is okay. I'm gonna hit OK. Right? So I'm gonna centralize now. I believe you know what to centralize with. That's just you select all and you make it centralized. Okay, you select. Good. So what I'm gonna do next now is I'm gonna group this. I'm gonna say from bringing your then to imagination. I will hold my shift and I will select. Then I would group. Control G. So this I'm gonna say imagination. Let me just say imagination, right? So I'm gonna show the transform controls because I still want to look into increasing the size if it will look nice. Good. Alright. I think this looks cool to some extent. So now I'm gonna select this imagination. I will change the color. I will pick up this color. And why am I doing this? Just to follow some principles of design, contrast, and the likes. And so let me just play a little bit with this particular text, right? Or word, in case we be. I'm gonna increase the opacity, then I'll decrease this, the distance, then the size, I'll decrease it as well. Then I'm going to change this to let me see, normal, right? Normal, then I'll increase the opacity so that I can see what I'm doing. Then okay, so I think it's becoming obvious gradually, right? So I'm gonna have something like this. Then I think I can have, let me just, yeah, I think I'm leaving this. If I decrease the opacity, then I'll increase the distance to some extent. Okay, this is cool, right? My OK. As I hit my OK, I think I love this. bringing your imagination to reality. Let's play around with this image. Into main, I'll select main, then I would open it, and here is my image. I'll unlock it, then I'll do some little manipulation on top of that design, on top of that image. Okay, so I have something like this, then I want to play with the image. So I just come to this place that says create new flow adjustment layer. So I'll just click on it, then I'll select vibrance. So I'll come here and make sure that I click mask it, so that it will have effect only on the picture. If I don't do so, it will affect the whole of this workspace. But I just want it to affect only the image, so I'm gonna increase the vibrance of the image. And vibrance is just to let us, to have a detailed a detailed display of the image, right? So I'm gonna desaturate this to some little extent. I'm gonna desaturate it, right? So I've desaturated, then I'm gonna hit it. So I'll come back to my layer. I'll select this again. I will go to color balance. I'll go to color balance. I will do the same thing. I will click mask because I want it to have effect only on this image and not the whole of the workspace. So I'm just going to play around with this. You can play around with it anyhow you like, and once you are satisfied with whatever result you have, then you're good to go. You select the shadow, and same thing, you play around with the colors. So what I'm just trying to achieve is a blue, something like blue. That's what I'm trying to achieve. So yours might not be blue. Just play around with it, and once you're able to get your preferred color, then you're good to go. So this time around, I'm going to select hue and saturation. Then I feel like changing this to black and white. Although, so then let me just play around with this and see what's going to happen. Let me see how my result is going to look like. Oh, you see what I was saying? The whole of the workspace now has changed. So for that reason, I'm just going to check this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm just trying to play around with the image. So let me select the I'm gonna reduce the fill to some little extent, then hue and saturation, let me select it. Okay, let me just leave it at normal. Okay, let me just leave it like this. Okay. It's cool. Or I can say, let me just come on top of this, and I'll create let me just create a new layer. Then let's say Ctrl Z. Yeah, let me just put a new layer. Then I'll draw a shape. I'll come to my shape tool. I'll select rectangle tool. Then I'll draw a rectangle shape all around this workspace. It's going to be in blue color, right? So I'm going to do this. Then I'll look for straw also looks good. Okay, let me change the colors. Okay, let me choose this. Then I would come to this image. I'll come to this blue shape. I will select it. Then once it's selected, I'll just come back to where I have my rectangle. Yeah, this is my rectangle, so I'll come, then I will just select this, and it has picked up the area I wanted. You know, it has kind of it's just more or less like clip mask, but not really a clip mask. It has added a mask to it, which has hidden some other parts I really do not need. So I'm going to reduce the opacity. Like this. Okay, let me just. So then I will reduce the fill. I will use the fill to, let's see. Okay, so let me just say I'm good with this, right? Then I'll come like this. So now I want to put some little right up here, just little right up, and we are good to go. Bring your imagination to reality. See, the image is just speaking like someone who is imagining something, someone who is kind of thinking about something, trying to bring something into reality, you know, an idea into a reality. That's just exactly what this is talking about. So I'm just gonna put some little right up here. Don't forget, you come, you close, then you can create another group, or just come on top of this place and just click once and type whatever you want to type. Let me just type something simple. So I'm just gonna move this down a little bit, like so. I'll move this closer to somewhere around here, you know. I'm just gonna move it somewhere around here. Then I'll move this as well. Let me zoom out so that I can see what I'm doing clearly. Okay, what I'm So why do I have this thing? I just have it to just, you know, distinguish my text. It's just a way of, you know, creating a hierarchy. It's not really something really big or something else. It's just to keep the design a little bit busy. You know, not too busy, but a little bit busy, so that you won't have everything, you know, just choked up or something. let me just, I'll go to my what's it called, create new field. I will go to pattern. Then you don't have problem with this, you come here and you select this. I already created this, so I did it myself from the scratch. So some subsequent designs I will show up how this is being done, but for the sake of this design, let's just do it this way, and just move on with the speed of light. If you notice, you will see something like a black stripe aside the clothes. The black stripe, that's the pattern we just applied. So I'm gonna choose on multiply. Then I'll reduce the opacity to, let's say, 50%. Okay, I think it's looking cool. 50%. Then let's reduce this to 75%. Okay, or let's say 70%. I think 70% looks cool, right? Okay, so let's leave this like this. Then what else? Okay. So let's have a circle here. Probably we might decide to, at the end of the day, to mask something inside of the circle. So let's just have the circle somewhere. So I'm gonna add stroke to it. I'm gonna add a white stroke. I'm gonna increase the size. Oops. To copy, so I'll bring it down I would collapse this. So I'll go to shape, and I will come to this stroke. I would select this. Okay, so the stroke is off. Then I will show my transform controls. Then I will increase the size like so. So I'll come to my shape tool. Meanwhile, this is still selected. I'll go to fill. I'll uncheck it. I'll come to stroke. I'll pick up a color. I'll pick up, let's say, stroke color. Let's pick this as stroke color. Then I'll reduce the size like so. Okay, so I'm gonna change this to like so. Good. I'm still. Yeah, I'm good to go. So having this, I think we're almost done with the tutorial. We're almost done. Sorry, I should have already brought in my Twitter icon, my Facebook icon, and my phone number. I should have brought those icons in, but I made a mistake by not doing so. So let me just quickly locate where they are. I'm just going to drag this like this. I'm going to drag this as well. Let me close this. So dragging this does not have any effect on what you're doing. I'm just doing this to just make my work very easy for me. So I'm going to drag this like so and drop. Fine. And I'm going to close it up. Drag. There's something I want to do. You see, whenever you are doing something like this and you're doing your design, you see if you're doing a design and you don't lock your background, or maybe you don't lock some of the elements you might have used, some of the maybe background image or whatever, you discover that I wanted to pick up this shape, right? But what if I try to drag this and I'm dragging this instead? It's going to mess up with my design. So what I'm going to do is this. My pattern, which is this, I'm going to lock it. So it won't move around or about. So I want to move this Twitter. I think this is Twitter. But I want everything to be centered, everything to be on a straight line, to have a perfect alignment. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to pick up my my ruler. Sorry, I'm going to pick up a guide from my ruler. Just go to your ruler. This is your ruler, and in case yours is not showing up, just hit up your Ctrl R. You see, maybe if your own is like this, just hit up Ctrl R, then this shows up. So I'm going to hit up I'm going to bring my ruler down. Okay, so now my text, I want to move it directly. So now I want to make this the same color as the text color. So I'm just gonna let me move to the top. Okay. This is layer 4. I'm just gonna select layer 4. I will double click and I'll have my layer style showed up. So for my layer style, I would select color overlay. I'll double click and I'll come here, right here. I'll double click, then I will choose my white color. So select my white color. Okay, you might not be seeing this because maybe the particular icon I selected has been covered by this. So let me just click on my OK. Good, you see that this has changed color. So now I want to just use a kind of shortcut. Instead of going and do the same thing over and over, I'll just come to this FX, I'll hold my Alt and click and drag and drop. So it's just give me the effect directly. Just copy. Okay, so now I think we are done with our design. We are done. And this is just as simple as possible, Okay, so I hope you really do enjoy this tutorial. Please let me know in the comment section below anything you feel about this design. Maybe you want something to be done about the design, maybe you need some little adjustment or something you feel like, oh, this should be added, this should be taken away off from this design, and so please just put that down below in the comment section, and you can suggest subsequent tutorial for me to make for you guys so that you will be happy, and I'm sure you will tap out value from this. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, thumbs up, and share it to your friends, share it with your friends, tell your friends about Picoty designs, and I'm always ready to do more and more and more and more. Like I always say, dream great, dream great, and stay creative with Picoty designs. I love you all, and I say goodbye.